Guys, we're all hustling. We're all trying to make some money, right? I'm sure you got some stocks. You probably got some gold bars under your mattress. I'm in the investing game myself. Stocks, crypto, real estate. But wow, the market? It's all over the place. But there's one asset class that has been performing very well. Do you know the average price of art being sold at auction is going for 26% more than it did at this time last year? That's why Masterworks is so genius. Masterworks is a platform where anyone can invest in this very same fine art without needing a ton of money for a full painting. Instead, you buy shares of art so you can invest to your comfort level. This isn't NFTs. These are actual paintings, Picasso, Banksy's, the real deal. And Masterworks has produced results earlier this month. They sold a painting for 21.5% net return to their investors. So I reached out. I've partnered with Masterworks to give all of you VIP access. If you want to check them out, just click on the link below. Junior Nationals. I was a wrestler growing up, guys. It was the biggest tournament that we got to go to. You'd get ready for an entire year and state delegations and people raise money. I mean, this was a big deal. Training camps, the whole bit, we get out there. Young man from Oregon, 1995, 154 pounds. Isaac Wood, rest his soul. Isaac Wood makes it to the finals. He defeats, in fact, he pins California's Ed Mosley. Ed Mosley did not get up after he was pinned. There's a whole bunch of matches that night. There was a whole bunch of great wrestlers that night. Ed Mosley did not get up after he was defeated. He stayed on the mat. He wasn't hurt. He was broken. He was frustrated. He was sad. Whatever his emotion was. The visual is Isaac Wood winning, Isaac Wood standing up, returning to center circle. And his opponent, the second best guy in the country, is so defeated he cannot rise to his feet. When that night ended, time to give out the most coveted award. Outstanding wrestler, and I went to Isaac Wood. Now, I spoke to Roy Pittman, the famed coach, and Roy Pittman said, yes, of course, they gave it to Isaac Wood because his opponent stayed down. That was interesting to me. I was 17 years old. What do you mean? How did his match become better? How does he look better than other national champions because of something his opponent did after the contest was done? I thought on it. I really thought on it. So I asked some other coaches. I took Coach Pittman's idea and I kind of shopped it around. From a psychological standpoint, is that accurate? Yeah, they all said yeah. Apparently there's a voting process. They all voted for Isaac and they voted for him because his opponent stayed down. That visual is tremendous. Now, I share that story with you. We had a whole bunch of guys fight at UFC 280. We had world champions fight at UFC 280. It's just a great card. Can we agree? Now, if you want to know whose stock rises the most, and that's a conversation. I've heard announcers and reporters talk about that after any sports weekend, but I've heard whose stock rises the most. I think it's actually a fair question, and I enjoy looking into it, but it's not an opinion. There's an actual formula where you can prove it. The one who won isn't the guy that got the most money. It isn't the guy that got the loudest cheers that night. The guy who won is whoever 10 days later got the most headlines about his win. That's the winner. We had champions that night who have not spoken since, just to put a perspective for you. We had 11 fights that night, what I believe was maybe the best card ever, and I know a lot of other people have said that, and I admit I got a real short memory, but as far as, man, I was looking forward to that. I was looking to that for 3 months. I looked forward to that. We had 11 guys fight, which means we got 11 incredible winners. Incredible winners, if this is the greatest card ever. Some of them have not said a word. Most of them would not have gotten talked about anyway. There's only so much air in the room. There's only so many headlines. Make sure that you understand that concept. You are competing against the other guys for those headlines. You're competing against them. It's very hard to have multiple stars at a time. You're not gonna have multiple stars when The Rock and Stone Cold are both booked. You're not going to have, because these guys are sucking all the air out of the room. They're taking all the print. They're taking all the camera time. They're taking all the questions. There's not another guy that can get through. Of course there's other stars that can do houses. Of course there's guys that can headline record numbers at WrestleMania. Under contract right then. All they have to do to become a star is get The Rock to not show up. Now all of a sudden they can get an opportunity. It's exactly what happened. We see that in MMA. I can't tell you how many times Dana White has been asked when one of his top performers retires, what are you going to do now? And Dana's never answered. We say, we'll figure it out. He's never answered, but that's the answer. I just handed it to you. I've got the stars. I've got them right now. I couldn't get them the exposure and the attention because this star had the spot. Very rarely you understand this concept. You want to know who stock went up the most. You want to know who got the most bang. Sean O'Malley. Now why? What was so neat about it? Was it the controversy? Was it that he beat a former champion? Was it the split decision? Was it the hairdo? What was it? Was it the post-fight interview? Was it the walkout? Was it the music? I mean, there was only so many things that happened. What part of it was so damn good? Well, much like Isaac Wood being the champion because his opponent stayed down. That is a visual component that creates an emotion that has stayed with us. I just cited a match for you, including a weight class, including the arena it was held in, including the two participants from 1995. I just did it off the top of my head. So that must have been a pretty powerful thing. Why is Sean the one in all the headlines? Why is he still doing interviews today about something that happened weeks ago? It's not his time. His time is done. It is now UFC 281's time. Why is Sean still getting interviews? Because his opponent stayed down. Peter Yan elected to deal with this and handle this by feinting that he is not going to return to the sport. Daniel Cormier came out and told the world that. Yan had sent out a tweet. But Cormier went and kind of looked into it with some of Jan's people, and that was the word, and Daniel Cormier brought it to us. Now, rule in politics, if anybody ever gets it wrong about you, you come out and correct it. If you don't correct it, we will all assume it's true. This is what happened. Nobody corrected it. And I think Jan was getting a little tension. He was getting a little bit of rub for that. Look, hey, man, you got screwed, right? Getting some Twitter people. They can't control the contract, the rankings, or his paycheck, telling him what he wanted to hear. Jan is not totally wrong in this situation. I mean, in all fairness, right, Jan's got a way to handle it. There's only so many things he can do. Try to get a rematch, try to move on, cry about it, act like I'm taking my ball and going home. I mean, Jan made his move. I'm not giving Jan a hard time, but I also don't give Ed Mosley a hard time for staying down after he got his heart broken in Fargo, North Dakota by Isaac Wood because he got pinned. I'm not speaking about Ed Mosley, and I'm not speaking about Jan. I'm telling you why Isaac got the award, and I'm telling you why Sean is getting the interviews. Imagine a different scenario, if you will. Jan comes out and says it's not true. I beat him. This is fiction. Hell, Charles Oliveira told you 2 months ago we can't come out here and trust these judges. Turns out Charles was right. And you want to know who else agrees with me? Is Sean O'Malley by his own admittance. Go watch his post-fight. Imagine that he did that. We're in a very different situation, right? We got a real problem. We have a real problem because we were told the winner of that match was going to go on and fight for a world championship. But all of a sudden, what's a bigger deal? Controversy. Controversy creates cash. And it would be a real problem. If Jan started coming in and he started coming in thick, he started bringing it. He's not going to call the judges cheaters. He's going to cite the time that Charles Oliveira said that the judges are incompetent. He's going to ask the world that just watched. He's going to demand a rematch. Now, he might get it and he might not. But boy, there's going to be a strong compulsion to do just that. He's going to put Sean in a real hard spot. Not to mention Sean's a sportsman. Whether you know it or not, if Jan would have made the move for the rematch, Sean wouldn't have flinched. Just so you understand. He didn't make the move. Much like Ed Mosley, he stayed down. Your argument is gone when you stay down. Ed Mosley did nothing wrong, and neither did Jon. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking about their move. I'm talking about their move propelling their opponent, and this is why. There is no argument by Suga Sean right now. There is never an argument or a debate or going back and trying to rehash something when the other guy doesn't ask you to do it. Moreover, he doesn't want a rematch. Moreover, he has removed himself. He's not even here anymore. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who was better between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier when Jon Jones was on suspension and couldn't get light. It's Daniel Cormier. Just sharing for you, when one guy moves and one guy steps aside, the other guy rises to a level that he wouldn't have risen to. You're seeing a massive psychological effect here. It's very interesting. And I'll tell you one final thing about Sean. Oddly, or at least surprisingly, Chito Vera, his greatest nemesis, Sean's here. His greatest rival, Sean's here. Chito Vera, on 2 separate occasions, came out and he backed Sean. He went as far as to say Sean should fight for the title next. He just beat the former champion. He just beat the #1 guy. He's now #1. He should fight for the belt. That was interesting. Because Chito Vera wants it. He's not scared. He's also not being nice. Chito Fighter's just gone through 2 world champions. Been scratching and clumping. That's what he did. It was a massive sign of sportsmanship. It was a surprise to me. Wasn't how I thought he would handle it. And guess how Sean is repaying that? I told you he's a sportsman. Guess how he's repaying Chito's high praise? He just said that he's willing to fight Chito for that #1 contendership. Now, what a difference a day makes. What a difference approach makes. You want to know whose stock rise the most? Come on, don't be serious. Sean O'Malley.